3-0 all night, 5-0 on aggregate, done and dusted. Napoli destroying Eintracht Frankfurt over the two legs. Victor Osimhen once again the star of the show with a brace. Zielinski with a penalty as well to guarantee Napoli a place in the last 8. They're looking good, Gab.
They're looking good. They kind of weathered the early storm against Eintracht, who came out with a high press, all guns blazing. I think Oliver Glasner did what he thought he had to do to try to stun them. But again, this team can beat you so many ways. They kind of weathered the storm, passed through their way through the press, and then scored at the end of the first half, and they were very much on their way. How about that vertical, by the way, from Victor Osimhen for the first goal? Decidedly Ronaldo-esque, as I see it.
Yeah, he's not bad, Gab.
No, he's not. And look, I think what, some people have said, oh, how good is he technically and whatever. Well, you know what?
Oh,
the guy's
said that, Gab?
Super smart. I can think of a couple people. But the guy's super smart. He makes all the runs at the right time. And he's a tremendous athlete. He's strong and he's quick. And on top of that, he's tactically really, really intelligent. So when you have that combination, Thomas Muller made a whole career out of it. You don't have to necessarily be, Lionel Messi with the ball at your feet. And by the way, he's not bad technically either. So I think he's got the whole team working for him, and he works for the team. He clears so much space. He makes the wide players better. Right now, what we're seeing from Spalletti, I think, is truly special. And you know who thinks so too? Pep Guardiola. He said last night that the two teams who play the best football in Europe are Arsenal and Napoli. And of course, Pep wouldn't ever be sucking up to other clubs or just trying to be a gentleman.
No, definitely not. You take a look at Osimhen, Steve. He must be a nightmare to defend.
Yeah, well, you never know what he's going to be.
Yeah.
You never know when he's going to make that run in behind. He's good at pulling you out as well to leave space for others. So for a centre-back in particular, absolute shocker. Pulling centre-backs out and then having your centre-back having the brains to maybe try and pass him on if he can. As I said, if he gets it and he turns and runs at you, you're in trouble because he's got plenty of pace. And if you stand off him, then he'll just turn and go at you and lay it off as well. So he's one of those guys that hopefully he stays out of your area and goes to somebody else's.
All right, pass the buck.
Yes.
I mean, he scores all types of goals, doesn't he? Obviously, he's got the physical attributes to do so. But there's a goal he scored at Salernitano and not too long ago that I was like, wow. He basically battered two centre-halves off the ball, was heading to a position that looked like it was only going to be able to cross it in and there was nobody there, and absolutely fired one past the goalkeeper at the near post. Now, it wasn't brilliant from the goalkeeper, but it was just how quick thinking he is as well. His physical attributes, quick thinking, powerful striker of the ball, great in there. And as the guys have said, some really good players behind him and wide of him as well. So, yeah, we've been saying it for a while. Napoli are to be avoided in this competition at all costs.
Yeah, and because of not only the talent that we see of Osimhen, one of the best in the world.
Oh, yeah. Look, it reminds me, and perhaps not the same technical ability, right? But it reminds me of the OG Brazilian Ronaldo. When Osimhen is running with the ball and people are bouncing off of him, that's what you saw from Fenomeno back in the day. Now, this is a very lofty comparison because, in my estimation, Brazilian Ronaldo, obviously one of a kind, but it's that type of power that you see from Osimhen. And you see this guy inside the 18-yard box going on and get a header, he jumps everybody, right? So there is an athleticism to him, a power to him, and then a quality to his game that makes the job of those guys that are behind him, underneath him, look, it makes it much easier because guess what? When I'm in trouble, I can find this guy down the channel because I know he's going to get there. I know I can float a ball into the box and he's going to go get it. He's going to run in behind. He's going to hold the ball up. It makes your job a whole lot easier as a creative player when you have a guy that gives you so many options.
Who's better than Napoli left in this competition, Gab?
Well, look, I can't possibly contradict Pep Guardiola, can I? No, I mean, look, I think if you're Napoli, I think you're playing with house money at this stage. You're going to look and you're not going to be intimidated by anybody. Obviously, I would assume you would put Man City and Bayern and Real Madrid ahead of them because, we keep getting told how important the European pedigree is and the experience in Europe and all this stuff. I'd probably chuck Benfica into the mix too, because while they've gone totally under the radar this year, this is a team that's lost one game all season. I'm not saying Benfica are better than Napoli. I don't believe they are. But I think we have the strange, Champions League this season where you can probably find flaws in the three so-called, big name favorites. And you've got a couple teams like Napoli, like Benfica certainly, who I think are capable of upending the apple cart.
Napoli are going to win the league, yeah? That's done. That's sorted. So is it a help or a hindrance that you can manage these final games in the knockout stages from a Napoli perspective, as opposed to City, you've got to keep fighting for the league?
I think Napoli are just in such a good position. I wouldn't see a negative in it.
Right.
I mean, I really don't. I don't see a negative from either side. Both, particularly City have a big squad, still fighting for the league, obviously, as you said. Napoli are going to cruise over the line. But, I mean, I don't know. The players are still focused.
Yeah.
They're in that position because they're professional, they've played great, they've got a fantastic manager. So I don't think it's a bad thing. Actually, I think Napoli would be City's biggest nightmare. I think Bayern Munich and Real Madrid...
Right over two legs.
I think Bayern Munich and Real Madrid might handle Osimhen and Napoli a bit better than City.
Right.
The reason I say that is because I think City are so mindset in possessing the ball and having a high line and having their centre-halves, at least one of them in the midfield, that they're more susceptible to a really good counter-attack with somebody over the top. Whereas I think Bayern and Real Madrid maybe happy to give Napoli a bit more of the ball and sit a bit deeper. City don't do that. Just don't do it. And I think Napoli, City, could be their biggest headache because of the way they play and because of the way City play, leaving that space in behind. Osimhen would be licking his lips.
Gab, is it fair to say that this is a bonus prize? Obviously, the league, the first one since 1990, is what it's all about. And as far as they can advance in the Champions League, it's kind of the icing on the cake. It's not the be-all and end-all.
No, it's definitely not the be-all and end-all. I mean, I think they need 5 wins between now and the end of the season, something like that. And then they're guaranteed the Serie A title. There's 11 games to go. So obviously they want to keep their eye on that. I'd also add that this is a pretty deep team, especially up front. They still have Chucky Lozano, Giovanni Simeone, Raspadori, who, none of these guys started this game in midfield. They've got people like Elmas who can help you. So I think, they feel that they have the squad that, they can certainly pace themselves, manage a team and put out really strong teams in the quarterfinals and even beyond that. But, in some ways, I think, as you said, the pressure is off if they win the league this year, and I'm not counting any chickens before they hatch. It's really going to be a tremendous achievement. Because let's not forget, they cut their wage bill by 30%. To all those people out there say, oh, it's all about money. We need the Super League. How can we compete with the Premier League and their $4 billion of revenue a year and Todd Bowley and Enzo Fernandez, all this nonsense. No, you have to go out, be smart. You got to compete. You got to get a good coach. And there's a whole sporting element to it. And, to cut your wage bill, to sell arguably your 3 most important players, to lose them all over the summer, and Insigne, Koulibaly, and Mertens, and to come back much, much stronger like that, that's really impressive. And you know what? Sometimes smart people win, not just rich people, smart people.
Well, thank you very much for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for live streaming, premium content, and let's not forget as well, ESPN FC 7 days a week. Subscribe to ESPN Plus.